My name's Alan Davis, and this is my wife, Shayna, and we've been married 10 years.
We got engaged on our 1-year anniversary, and Alan started kind of getting sick here and there. They kept telling him he had kidney infections. Meanwhile, we were planning our whole wedding, got everything down to every last detail planned, and he got really sick and said, "Babe, I need to go to the hospital or I'm gonna die." And took him to the hospital, and they told us at first that he had a hemangioma and a pseudocyst, and later on told us that it was cancer and he had to stay. So we gave our wedding away 2 weeks before the date, and we buckled down for a fight.
Yeah, we were all planned, ready to go, and cancer just kind of got in the way. It was stage 4, in the final stage, and so we just kind of focused on, getting healthy, and we gave the wedding away to her mom's friend.
We were gonna just go to the Justice of Peace and elope, and the pastor of the church at the time said not to do that, that he would marry us. So we went up to our church with nobody there on spring break and ended up getting married, and it was really cute. They got me a little bouquet of flowers and him a boutonniere, and they, the worship leader at the time there had just written a song for his wife that nobody had heard, so they played a song for us, and we got to have our first dance and everything, even though we didn't get to have our actual wedding. So we've wanted children since we first met. We talked about what we would name them, whose eyes would they have, whose laugh would they have, just the little things like that. And then when we found out he was sick, that kind of stuff got put on hold. Well, as soon as he was better, we immediately started trying to have kids again. We found out that it was gonna be pretty hard for us.
Yeah, we thought we were pregnant at one point. She had been late, and a couple weeks went by. It was like a few weeks went by, and we were almost certain. I felt, we get our hopes up, but we were both excited to, finally be pregnant after trying for so many years, and after a few days we realized that we weren't pregnant, which completely left us broken.
So due to his cancer and health issues that have come up since, like diabetes because of it, he can no longer have children naturally. Well, after we found out that we weren't pregnant on our own, a friend contacted me and said, "Hey, I found this person on Facebook who is looking for a family," and I told her about you guys. So we met with them, and they were a really, really young couple who had gotten pregnant, and they were looking for a good home for their child. And we met with them several times. Everything seemed like it was gonna go, and they had the baby. We were there. We were the first ones to really do anything with her, see her, hold her, feed her, change her diaper, all of that. And then when we went back the next day, things were different. Alan messaged the dad and told the dad, "Look, we need to know what's going on." And he finally told us that, it's most likely not going to happen, that
His parents were just going to step in and take care of the kid.
And then in August, we got the first phone call for a new child that needed to be adopted. We actually said no to him 6 times, and then they called and told us, "Look, she had the baby, we've had the baby, you really need to come over here and talk to her." So we went over there, and it seemed like it was a done deal. So we ended up with this little bitty baby, and we had him for 9 months before we lost him back to his birth parents.
So this February 2017 would be 10 years since everything has kind of come full circle. But a few months ago, the end of 2016, I started feeling the exact same pains to a T that I had when I went through the cancer the first time. And I kind of felt my spirit, something was wrong. I actually got a phone call from a really good friend of mine, and she had said, "Hey, I had a dream about you. God told me to call you and tell you to go check yourself into the hospital," which was crazy. She said, "I know you probably think I'm nuts for telling you that, but that's exactly kind of what started it. From that day on, I started feeling pains. It was really weird, and I remember talking to her about the phone call, so I started feeling the same pains, and I started getting more sick, and I was working so much I didn't have the time to take off. So finally work has slowed down enough to where I could take a week to go check myself into the hospital. And I was there for 3 or 4 days. They were running tests like crazy, and my same cancer doctors, oncology, came back and said, it looks like your cancer's back. And so we were actually getting in the process, starting right then, was just getting me set up to figure out what type of chemo they were gonna put me on again. And we came home, and it was tough, 10 years would have been pretty amazing to make it without having cancer. 10 years cancer-free would have been amazing. But yeah, so we ended up getting a huge prayer meeting. 60 total people came to our house, and we formed in the living room. We actually had to break out into the front yard. There was so many people, but they laid hands on me and they prayed just a prayer of healing over my life. And from that point on, I was healed. I knew what I felt in my body. I knew what I felt in my spirit. Just everything about it was so beautiful, the way God had worked. So I had my follow-up a couple weeks after that, and they told me, yeah, we did some more scans and stuff, but in the end, the doctor said the cancer was gone. So now we're at the point where we ask you guys for your help. This is actually not just something, this isn't something we just threw together. This is something people have been breathing into our lives for a good 5 years now, friends from church and family. We've had numerous people say, we want to help you out in any way, to do a fundraiser. And we haven't really been, it's hard to ask people for money, especially when you're hardworking too. And it's a tough thing to ask for that, but we feel like we're being obedient. That's the only way I can explain it. And as tough as it is, and as humbling as it is, we're just here to ask. God says to ask, and starting cost for this thing, is looking at around $20,000. We're asking for 25. We're going a little over and beyond, but we feel 25 is going to be more than enough to make it happen. And if God pierces your heart to give, we would be forever grateful. You would be making something happen in our lives that we've been praying for 10 years. And just the ability to create life would be amazing. And so your contribution, any way you guys can help, we would be extremely thankful.